Question 1. The performance metrics show a consistent increase in the average time taken to resolve critical incidents within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7.5 over the past quarter. Which approach to process optimization would best address this trend? Option A. Conduct a thorough review of the incident management process within Control Desk, analyzing ticket data to identify common bottlenecks, recurring issues, and areas where automation or workflow adjustments could expedite resolution. Option B. Immediately allocate additional system resources, such as increasing server capacity and database performance, to the Control Desk environment to handle the perceived workload increase. Option C. Implement a series of uncoordinated configuration changes to various modules within Control Desk, hoping to stumble upon a solution that improves incident resolution times. Option D. Focus on training all service desk staff on advanced troubleshooting techniques without first identifying specific areas of weakness in the current resolution process. Correct answer is A. Conduct a thorough review of the incident management process within Control Desk, analyzing ticket data to identify common bottlenecks, recurring issues, and areas where automation or workflow adjustments could expedite resolution. Explanation: this scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the immediate need for operational efficiency with the long-term strategic goals of process optimization within the IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7.5 framework. The performance metrics indicate a potential bottleneck or inefficiency, necessitating a thoughtful approach to improvement rather than a reactive, superficial fix. Careful judgment is required to select an optimization strategy that aligns with best practices for IT service management, ITSM, as supported by Control Desk, ensuring that changes are sustainable and contribute to overall service delivery excellence. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it involves a systematic, data-driven investigation into the root cause of the performance issue before implementing any changes. This aligns with the principles of continuous service improvement, CSI, inherent in ITSM frameworks, which emphasize understanding current performance, identifying areas for improvement, and implementing changes in a controlled manner. By focusing on understanding the why behind the metrics, the chosen approach ensures that the optimization efforts are targeted and effective, leading to lasting improvements in service delivery and user satisfaction, which are key objectives for any IT service management solution like Control Desk. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on increasing resource allocation without understanding the underlying process issues is professionally unacceptable. This is because it represents a superficial fix that fails to address the root cause of the performance degradation. Such an approach can lead to increased costs without a corresponding improvement in service quality, and may even mask deeper systemic problems. From a regulatory or ethical standpoint, this approach could be seen as a failure to exercise due diligence in managing IT resources effectively and responsibly, potentially violating internal governance policies or even broader principles of efficient resource utilization expected in professional IT operations. Another incorrect approach that involves making ad hoc changes to the Control Desk configuration without proper testing or impact analysis is also professionally unacceptable. This is a high-risk strategy that can introduce new problems, disrupt existing workflows, and negatively impact service availability. Ethically, it demonstrates a lack of professionalism and a disregard for the stability and reliability of the IT services being managed. Such actions could lead to significant service disruptions, impacting business operations, and potentially leading to financial losses or reputational damage, which are serious professional failures. The professional reasoning process for similar situations should involve a structured approach. 1. Understand the problem. Clearly define the observed performance issue using available metrics and data. 2. Investigate the root cause. Employ diagnostic tools and methodologies to identify the underlying reasons for the performance metrics. This might involve analyzing logs, reviewing process flows within Control Desk, and consulting with subject matter experts. 3. Evaluate potential solutions. Based on the root cause analysis, identify and evaluate various optimization strategies. Consider their feasibility, impact, cost, and alignment with strategic objectives. 4. Plan and implement. Develop a detailed plan for the chosen solution, including testing, rollback procedures, and communication strategies. Implement the changes in a controlled manner. 5. Monitor and review. Continuously monitor the performance after implementation to ensure the desired improvements are achieved and to identify any unintended consequences. Review the effectiveness of the optimization effort and document lessons learned. Question 2. The assessment process reveals that the incident management process within the organization is experiencing significant delays in resolution, leading to increased user dissatisfaction and potential SLA breaches. To address this, which of the following strategies would be the most effective for optimizing the incident management process within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7? 5. Option A. Overhauling the entire incident management workflow by introducing entirely new categories and statuses without prior analysis of current ticket data. Option B. Implementing automated ticket routing based on keyword analysis and predefined escalation paths within the SmartCloud Control Desk workflow engine. Option C. Conducting a series of ad hoc training sessions for the service desk team on general troubleshooting techniques without specific process review. Option D. Relying solely on increased staffing levels for the service desk to handle the backlog of incidents. The correct answer is B. Implementing automated ticket routing based on keyword analysis and predefined escalation paths within the SmartCloud Control Desk workflow engine. Explanation. The assessment process reveals a common challenge in IT service management, the need to optimize processes for efficiency and effectiveness. In the context of IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7. 5. This involves understanding how to leverage its features to streamline workflows, reduce manual effort, and improve service delivery. The professional challenge lies in identifying the most impactful and compliant methods for process optimization within the given regulatory framework, which for this exam is assumed to be a generic IT service management best practice environment without specific jurisdictional legal mandates beyond general data privacy and security principles inherent in IT operations. The correct approach focuses on a systematic and data-driven method for process improvement. This aligns with industry best practices like ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which emphasizes continuous service improvement. By analyzing existing workflows, identifying bottlenecks, and implementing targeted changes, organizations can achieve measurable improvements in efficiency, cost reduction, and customer satisfaction. This approach is professionally sound because it is proactive, evidence-based, and aims for sustainable improvement, directly contributing to the overall value proposition of the IT service management function. An incorrect approach might involve making broad, unanalyzed changes based on anecdotal evidence or personal preference. This lacks the rigor required for effective process optimization and can lead to unintended negative consequences, such as introducing new inefficiencies or disrupting established functional workflows. From a regulatory and ethical standpoint, such an approach could lead to noncompliance if it inadvertently compromises data security, privacy, or service-level agreements, SLAs, due to a lack of thorough impact assessment. Another incorrect approach could be to solely focus on technology implementation without considering the human element and process redesign, which often results in technology being underutilized or misapplied, failing to achieve the desired optimization. This overlooks the interconnectedness of people, process, and technology in achieving operational excellence. Professionals should approach process optimization by first establishing clear objectives and metrics for success. This involves understanding the current state of processes, gathering data on performance, and identifying areas for improvement. A structured methodology, such as a plan-do-check-act cycle, should be employed. This ensures that changes are implemented thoughtfully, their impact is measured, and adjustments are made as needed. Collaboration with stakeholders across different teams is crucial to ensure buy-in and to gain a comprehensive understanding of process interdependencies. Finally, continuous monitoring and refinement are essential to maintain optimized processes over time. Question 3. Implementation of a new incident management workflow within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7. 5 is being considered to improve response times, which approach best aligns with the principles of process optimization and ensures long-term effectiveness. Option A. Focus on automating the most frequent incident types first, assuming that optimizing these will yield the greatest overall benefit. Option B. Implement the new workflow with minimal changes to the existing structure, relying on user training to adapt to the new system. Option C. Conduct a comprehensive analysis of the existing incident management process, identifying bottlenecks and areas for improvement before designing and implementing the new workflow. Option D, immediately deploy the new incident management workflow to leverage its advanced features and achieve rapid improvements. The correct answer is C. Conduct a comprehensive analysis of the existing incident management process, identifying bottlenecks and areas for improvement before designing and implementing the new workflow. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where the pressure to deliver new features can sometimes overshadow the need for robust process optimization. The professional challenge lies in balancing immediate business demands with the long-term benefits of well-defined and efficient processes. Careful judgment is required to ensure that any implementation of new functionalities does not introduce inefficiencies or compliance risks. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes understanding the existing process landscape before introducing changes. By conducting a thorough analysis of current workflows, identifying bottlenecks, and gathering stakeholder feedback, the team ensures that any optimization efforts are targeted and effective. This aligns with the principles of ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which is a foundational framework for IT service management and is implicitly relevant to the operational aspects of IBM SmartCloud Control Desk. ITIL emphasizes continuous improvement and the importance of understanding current processes before attempting to change them. This proactive approach minimizes the risk of introducing new problems and maximizes the likelihood of achieving desired outcomes, such as improved efficiency and reduced operational costs, which are key objectives when implementing solutions like IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on rapid deployment without understanding the underlying processes is professionally unacceptable. This failure to analyze existing workflows can lead to the automation of inefficient or broken processes, thereby perpetuating or even exacerbating existing problems. Such an approach risks non-compliance with internal policies or external regulations if the unoptimized processes involve sensitive data handling or require specific audit trails that are not adequately addressed. Furthermore, it demonstrates a lack of due diligence and a disregard for the principles of effective IT service management, potentially leading to increased support costs and user dissatisfaction. Another incorrect approach that ignores stakeholder feedback during the optimization phase is also professionally flawed. Processes are designed to serve users and business needs. Failing to consult with those who interact with the processes daily means that critical insights into inefficiencies and potential improvements will be missed. This can result in solutions that are technically sound but practically unusable, or that create new obstacles for end users, undermining the very purpose of process optimization. Ethically, it represents a failure to engage with the affected parties and consider their operational realities. The professional reasoning process for similar situations should involve a structured approach to change management and process improvement. This includes 1. Clearly defining the objectives of the optimization. 2. Thoroughly analyzing the current state. 3. Identifying and prioritizing areas for improvement. 4. Designing and implementing the optimized process. 5. Testing and validating the changes. And 6. Monitoring and continuously improving the process post-implementation. Engaging stakeholders at each stage is crucial for gathering requirements, validating assumptions, and ensuring successful adoption. Question 4. The control framework reveals a need to enhance the efficiency of incident resolution within IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk V7. 5. Which of the following approaches best aligns with a strategic and compliant process optimization strategy? Option A. Focus exclusively on reducing the number of support staff involved in incident resolution to lower operational costs, regardless of the impact on resolution speed or quality. Option B. Conduct a comprehensive analysis of current incident resolution workflows, identifying key performance indicators, KPI, and user feedback to pinpoint bottlenecks, and then implement targeted improvements through the established change management process. Option C. Immediately deploy the latest available feature pack for IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk V7. 5. Assuming new functionalities will inherently improve incident resolution times. Option D. Implement process changes based on the personal experiences and suggestions of the most vocal team members, without formal data collection or validation. The correct answer is B. Conduct a comprehensive analysis of current incident resolution workflows, identifying key performance indicators, KPI, and user feedback to pinpoint bottlenecks, and then implement targeted improvements through the established change management process. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge in balancing the immediate need for operational efficiency with the long-term strategic goals of process optimization within the IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Environment. The challenge lies in identifying and implementing changes that yield tangible benefits without disrupting critical service delivery or violating established IT governance principles. Careful judgment is required to select an approach that is both effective and compliant with the implicit regulatory and best practice expectations inherent in a controlled IT environment. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it aligns with a systematic and data-driven methodology for process improvement. By focusing on identifying bottlenecks through performance metrics and user feedback, it ensures that optimization efforts are targeted at areas with the greatest potential for positive impact. This aligns with the principles of IT service management ITSM frameworks, which emphasize continuous improvement and service value. Furthermore, it respects the established change management processes, ensuring that any modifications are documented, tested, and approved, thereby maintaining system integrity and auditability, which are crucial for regulatory compliance and operational stability. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on implementing new features without a thorough analysis of existing processes risks introducing complexity and potential instability. This could lead to unintended consequences, increased support costs, and a failure to address the root causes of any perceived inefficiencies. From a regulatory and ethical standpoint, this approach could be seen as negligent if it leads to service degradation or data integrity issues, as it bypasses the due diligence expected in managing a critical IT system. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes cost reduction above all else, without considering the impact on process effectiveness or user experience, is also professionally unacceptable. This can lead to a race to the bottom, where essential functionalities are compromised, ultimately harming the business and its customers. Ethically, it fails to uphold the responsibility to provide reliable and effective services. Such an approach might also violate internal policies or external regulations that mandate a certain level of service quality or data protection. A further incorrect approach that relies on anecdotal evidence or the opinions of a few individuals, rather than objective data, is prone to bias and may not reflect the true state of the processes. This can lead to misallocation of resources and ineffective solutions. Professionally, it demonstrates a lack of rigor and a failure to adhere to evidence-based decision-making, which is a cornerstone of effective IT management and can have regulatory implications if it leads to non-compliance with established standards. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured approach. First, clearly define the problem or opportunity for improvement. Second, gather objective data through system monitoring, performance metrics, and user feedback. Third, analyze the data to identify root causes and prioritize areas for optimization. Fourth, develop potential solutions, considering their impact on efficiency, cost, risk, and compliance. Fifth, evaluate these solutions against defined criteria and select the most appropriate one. Finally, implement the chosen solution through a controlled change management process, monitor its effectiveness, and iterate as necessary. This systematic process ensures that decisions are informed, justifiable, and aligned with both operational needs and regulatory requirements. Question 5. Stakeholder feedback indicates that the current incident management process within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7.5 is causing delays in resolution and increasing operational overhead. Which of the following approaches best addresses this situation while adhering to process optimization principles? Option A. Immediately implement a series of ad hoc adjustments to the incident workflow based on the most vocal stakeholder suggestions to expedite resolution. Option B. Conduct a comprehensive review of the incident management process, gathering data on current performance, identifying root causes of delays, and proposing evidence-based improvements for stakeholder validation and controlled implementation. Option C. Delegate the task of redesigning the incident management process to a single senior IT manager without consulting the teams directly involved in incident resolution. Option D. Introduce a new, complex incident management tool without first optimizing the existing process or training users on its functionality. The correct answer is A. Immediately implement a series of ad hoc adjustments to the incident workflow based on the most vocal stakeholder suggestions to expedite resolution. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, balancing the need for process improvement with the practical realities of implementation and stakeholder buy-in. The professional challenge lies in identifying the most effective and compliant method to address feedback regarding process inefficiencies within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Specifically concerning process optimization, careful judgment is required to select an approach that not only addresses the identified issues, but also adheres to the principles of ITIL, which underpins Smart Cloud Control Desk, and any relevant organizational governance. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it aligns with the iterative and continuous improvement nature of ITIL. By initiating a formal review and analysis of the existing processes, involving relevant stakeholders, and proposing data-driven improvements, the organization demonstrates a commitment to structured optimization. This method ensures that changes are well understood, validated, and implemented in a controlled manner, minimizing disruption and maximizing the likelihood of achieving desired outcomes. It also fosters transparency and collaboration, which are crucial for successful process adoption. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on immediate, unverified changes without proper analysis risks introducing new problems or failing to address the root cause of the inefficiency. This could lead to wasted resources, decreased user satisfaction, and potential noncompliance with established IT governance frameworks if changes are not properly documented or assessed for impact. Another incorrect approach that bypasses stakeholder consultation or formal review processes undermines trust and can lead to resistance to change. This failure to engage key personnel is a significant ethical and professional lapse, as it disregards the expertise and concerns of those who operate within the processes daily. It also creates a risk of implementing solutions that are technically feasible but operationally impractical or non-compliant with broader organizational policies. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes understanding the problem, evaluating potential solutions against established best practices and organizational policies, and engaging all relevant stakeholders. This involves a structured approach to problem solving, such as a plan-do-check-act cycle, ensuring that any proposed changes are thoroughly analyzed, tested, and reviewed before full implementation. Question 6. The audit findings indicate that recent IT infrastructure updates within the organization have led to unexpected service disruptions and a decline in user satisfaction. The IT department implemented these changes primarily to improve system performance and security, with limited consultation with business unit leaders or end-user representatives during the planning and testing phases. Considering the principles of effective IT service management and stakeholder engagement, what is the most appropriate course of action to address this situation and prevent future occurrences? Option A. Develop a comprehensive communication plan to inform all users about the benefits of the recent IT infrastructure updates and provide them with updated user guides, assuming their satisfaction will improve once they adapt. Option B. Increase the IT department's internal testing resources and protocols to ensure all changes are technically sound before deployment, without further involving external stakeholders in the change approval process. Option C. Establish a formal change advisory board, CAB, that includes representatives from key business units and end-user groups to review and approve all significant IT changes, ensuring their business impact and user experience are thoroughly assessed before implementation. Option D. Implement a mandatory post-implementation review for all IT changes, focusing solely on technical performance metrics and system stability to identify any immediate technical issues that may have arisen. Correct answer is C. Establish a formal change advisory board, CAB, that includes representatives from key business units and end-user groups to review and approve all significant IT changes, ensuring their business impact and user experience are thoroughly assessed before implementation. Explanation. The audit findings indicate a potential gap in the organization's ability to effectively manage and communicate changes to its IT infrastructure, specifically concerning the impact on service delivery and user experience. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the technical aspects of change management with the business and user-centric perspectives. The pressure to implement changes quickly for perceived efficiency can often overshadow the need for thorough impact assessment and stakeholder communication, leading to disruptions and dissatisfaction. The correct approach, which involves proactively engaging key stakeholders from various departments, e.g., IT operations, business units, end users, to understand their needs and concerns regarding proposed changes, represents best professional practice. This aligns with the principles of IT service management (ITSM) frameworks, which emphasize a holistic view of IT services and their impact on the business. By involving stakeholders early, potential conflicts can be identified and resolved, user adoption can be improved, and the overall success of the change can be significantly enhanced. This proactive engagement fosters transparency and builds trust, crucial elements in maintaining effective IT governance and service delivery. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the technical implementation of changes without considering the business impact or user experience would be professionally unacceptable. This failure would violate the ethical obligation to provide reliable and effective IT services that support business objectives. It could also lead to non-compliance with internal policies or external service level agreements, SLAs, if the changes negatively affect service availability or performance. Another incorrect approach, which involves communicating changes only after they have been implemented, demonstrates a lack of foresight and respect for stakeholder input. This reactive communication strategy can lead to confusion, frustration, and a perception of being disregarded by the IT department. Ethically, it fails to uphold the principle of open and honest communication, which is fundamental to professional conduct in any service-oriented role. A third incorrect approach, which involves prioritizing changes based solely on the urgency of the IT department's internal requests without assessing their broader business value or impact, is also professionally flawed. This can result in resources being allocated to changes that offer minimal benefit to the organization while potentially disrupting critical business functions. It signifies a failure to align IT initiatives with strategic business goals, a core responsibility of IT professionals. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured change management process that includes 1. Thorough impact assessment, considering technical, business, and user perspectives. 2. Proactive stakeholder engagement and consultation. 3. Clear and timely communication plans. And 4. Post-implementation review to ensure objectives are met and lessons are learned. This systematic approach ensures that changes are managed effectively, minimizing risks and maximizing benefits for the entire organization. Question 7. Investigation of a critical system outage impacting multiple departments, with each department head demanding immediate attention and prioritizing their specific business function, requires a structured approach to incident resolution and stakeholder communication. Which of the following actions best aligns with professional IT service management practices and regulatory expectations for managing such a high-impact event? Option A. Immediately escalate the incident to the highest technical team for a rapid fix, prioritizing the department that has the most vocal or senior stakeholder, regardless of the overall business impact or contractual service level agreements, SLAs. Option B. Focus exclusively on identifying and resolving the technical root cause of the outage, deferring all communication with business stakeholders until the system is fully restored. Option C. Initiate a formal incident management process, accurately classifying the incident, assessing its impact across all affected business units based on predefined criteria and SLAs, and communicating updates according to the established communication plan. Option D. Attempt to resolve the issue by implementing quick, undocumented fixes suggested by individual department heads to expedite service restoration for their specific areas. The correct answer is A. Immediately escalate the incident to the highest technical team for a rapid fix, prioritizing the department that has the most vocal or senior stakeholder, regardless of the overall business impact or contractual service level agreements, SLAs. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical system outage impacts multiple business units, each with differing priorities and perceived urgency. The challenge lies in balancing the immediate needs of various stakeholders with the technical realities of resolving the issue and adhering to established service-level agreements, SLAs, and internal governance. The pressure to restore service quickly, coupled with potential blame and the need to manage expectations, requires a structured and objective approach. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach prioritizes a systematic, data-driven resolution process aligned with established incident management procedures and contractual obligations, SLAs. This involves accurate incident classification, impact assessment across all affected business units, and communication based on predefined escalation paths and severity levels. This methodology ensures that resources are allocated efficiently, that communication is consistent and transparent, and that the resolution process adheres to the agreed-upon service levels, thereby maintaining trust and demonstrating professional accountability. This aligns with the principles of ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which is a foundational framework for IT service management and is implicitly expected within the context of IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Fundamentals. Incorrect approach is analysis. Prioritizing one business unit's request over all others without a formal impact assessment or SLA consideration is a regulatory and ethical failure. It violates the principle of equitable service delivery and can lead to breaches of contract with other affected parties. This approach is driven by subjective influence rather than objective criteria, undermining the integrity of the incident management process. Focusing solely on the technical root cause without considering the business impact or stakeholder communication is also a failure. While technical resolution is crucial, neglecting the business implications and stakeholder needs can exacerbate the situation, leading to further dissatisfaction and potential business losses. This demonstrates a lack of holistic problem-solving and stakeholder management. Attempting to resolve the issue through ad hoc, undocumented changes without following the established change management process is a significant risk and a procedural failure. This can introduce further instability, complicate the root cause analysis, and violate audit trails and compliance requirements. It bypasses necessary approvals and testing, increasing the likelihood of recurrence or new incidents. Professional reasoning. Professionals should approach such situations by first activating the incident management process. This involves immediate logging and categorization of the incident, followed by a rapid assessment of its impact across all affected services and business units. Communication should be initiated according to the established communication plan, providing initial updates to all relevant stakeholders. The incident should then be prioritized based on its overall business impact and adherence to SLAs. Resource allocation for resolution should be determined by this prioritized assessment. Continuous communication and updates are essential throughout the resolution process, culminating in a post-incident review to identify lessons learned and prevent future occurrences. This structured approach ensures fairness, efficiency, and compliance. Question 8. What factors determine the most effective strategy for introducing a new feature in IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7? 5. That impacts user workflows from a stakeholder perspective. Option A. Prioritizing the technical deployment of the new feature based on IT department readiness and scheduling, with user training provided only after the feature is live. Option B. Implementing the new feature with minimal user notification and relying on a reactive help desk to address any issues that arise post-deployment. Option C. Proactive engagement with the affected user group to understand their current workflows, identify potential impacts, and gather feedback for a tailored implementation and training plan. Option D. Focusing solely on the documented functional benefits of the new feature as outlined in the IBM release notes, assuming users will adapt without direct consultation. The correct answer is C. Proactive engagement with the affected user group to understand their current workflows, identify potential impacts, and gather feedback for a tailored implementation and training plan. Explanation. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a new feature in IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Intended to improve efficiency, has unintended consequences for a key stakeholder group. The challenge lies in balancing the benefits of the new functionality with the operational impact on users who rely on the system for their daily tasks. The need for careful judgment arises from the potential for disruption, user dissatisfaction, and the risk of non-compliance if the implementation is not handled correctly. The correct approach, which involves proactive engagement with the affected user group to understand their workflow and potential impacts, represents best professional practice. This aligns with the principles of effective change management and user adoption, which are implicitly supported by regulatory frameworks that emphasize operational stability and service continuity. By involving stakeholders early, the team can identify and mitigate risks, tailor training, and ensure the new feature is integrated smoothly, thereby minimizing disruption and maximizing the value of the change. This proactive stance also supports the ethical obligation to provide a functional and reliable service to all users. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the technical implementation without considering the user perspective fails to acknowledge the human element of IT service management. This can lead to resistance, decreased productivity, and a perception that the system is not serving its intended purpose, potentially violating implicit service level agreements or organizational policies that mandate user satisfaction and operational efficiency. Another incorrect approach, which involves rolling out the feature with minimal communication and relying on post-implementation support, is also professionally unacceptable. This reactive strategy often results in a surge of support requests, increased frustration, and a longer recovery time. It demonstrates a lack of foresight and can lead to significant operational downtime or errors, potentially breaching organizational policies on change management and risk mitigation. A further incorrect approach, which prioritizes the perceived efficiency gains for the IT department over the operational needs of the end users, is ethically questionable and professionally unsound. This approach neglects the fundamental purpose of IT services, which is to support the business operations. It can lead to a breakdown in trust between IT and the business units, and may result in the new feature being underutilized or bypassed, negating any intended benefits. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured change management framework. This includes a thorough impact assessment that considers technical, operational, and user-centric aspects. Stakeholder identification and engagement are crucial from the outset. Communication plans should be developed to keep all affected parties informed. Training and support strategies must be tailored to the needs of the users. Finally, a robust rollback plan should be in place in case of unforeseen issues. This comprehensive approach ensures that changes are implemented effectively, minimizing risk and maximizing value for all stakeholders. Question 9. When evaluating the urgency of a critical security patch for IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7.5 that requires a system restart, and considering the potential impact on ongoing user operations, what is the most professionally responsible course of action to ensure minimal disruption and maintain service integrity? Option A. Defer the patch deployment until a less critical time, even if it means leaving the system vulnerable to the identified security threat for an extended period. Option B. Proceed with the patch deployment without a formal change request or rollback plan, relying on the IT team's expertise to resolve any issues that may arise post-deployment. Option C. Schedule the patch deployment for a low-impact period, such as overnight or during a weekend, after thoroughly communicating the planned downtime to all affected stakeholders and establishing a clear rollback procedure. Option D. Immediately deploy the patch during business hours to address the security vulnerability as quickly as possible, informing users only after the restart is complete. The correct answer is D. Immediately deploy the patch during business hours to address the security vulnerability as quickly as possible, informing users only after the restart is complete. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the immediate need for a critical system update with the potential disruption to end users and the need for thorough testing and validation. The core of the challenge lies in managing stakeholder expectations and ensuring that the decision to proceed with the update is informed, risk-assessed, and aligned with organizational policies and best practices for IT service management, as would be expected within the context of IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk v7.5 fundamentals. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a structured and controlled deployment process. This involves clear communication with all affected stakeholders, a comprehensive risk assessment, and a rollback plan. This aligns with the principles of IT service management, ITSM, frameworks, which emphasize minimizing service disruption and ensuring the stability and reliability of IT services. Specifically, within the context of IBM SmartCloud Control Desk, such a process would ensure that changes are managed effectively, reducing the likelihood of unforeseen issues impacting business operations. Adhering to these established procedures demonstrates due diligence and a commitment to service quality. An incorrect approach that bypasses proper change management procedures and stakeholder notification would be professionally unacceptable. This failure would violate ethical obligations to inform and protect users from unexpected service degradation. Could also lead to regulatory noncompliance if the system update impacts data integrity or security, and the organization cannot demonstrate a controlled and auditable change process. For instance, proceeding without a rollback plan introduces significant risk of prolonged downtime if the update fails, directly contravening the principle of service continuity. Another incorrect approach, such as delaying the update indefinitely due to fear of any potential disruption, would also be professionally unsound. This inaction can lead to security vulnerabilities, performance degradation, and an inability to leverage new features or fixes, ultimately hindering business objectives and potentially creating greater risks in the long run. It fails to acknowledge the necessity of system evolution and the proactive management of IT assets. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a systematic evaluation of the proposed change. This includes understanding the business impact, identifying all affected stakeholders, assessing the risks and benefits, developing a detailed implementation plan with contingency measures, including a rollback strategy, and obtaining appropriate approvals. Open and transparent communication throughout the process is paramount. Professionals should leverage the capabilities of tools like IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk to manage these changes effectively, ensuring that all steps are documented and auditable. Question 10. The performance metrics show a consistent increase in the processing time for incident resolution tickets within IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk V7. 5. Potentially indicating an underlying issue with the system's configuration or data load. A senior administrator proposes an immediate, direct modification to the database to optimize query performance, bypassing the standard change management and testing protocols. Another team member suggests a comprehensive review of system logs, performance counters, and recent configuration changes, followed by a controlled testing and deployment process for any identified solutions. A third option involves escalating the issue to IBM support without further internal investigation. Option A. Ignore the performance metrics as they may be temporary fluctuations. Option B. Escalate the issue to IBM support without further internal investigation. Option C. Immediately modify the database directly to optimize query performance, bypassing standard change management and testing protocols. Option D. Conduct a comprehensive review of system logs, performance counters, and recent configuration changes, followed by a controlled testing and deployment process for any identified solutions. Correct answer is D. Conduct a comprehensive review of system logs, performance counters, and recent configuration changes, followed by a controlled testing and deployment process for any identified solutions. Explanation. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the immediate need for operational efficiency with the long-term implications of data integrity and compliance within the IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk V7. 5 framework. The performance metrics, while indicating a potential issue, do not provide the full context. A hasty decision based solely on these metrics could lead to data corruption, regulatory noncompliance, and a loss of trust from stakeholders. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it prioritizes a thorough investigation and adherence to established change management and data governance procedures. This aligns with the principles of responsible IT service management, ensuring that any remediation actions are well understood, documented, and approved, thereby minimizing risk and maintaining the integrity of the system and its data. This approach also respects the roles and responsibilities within the IT governance structure, ensuring proper oversight and accountability. An incorrect approach that bypasses standard change control processes and directly manipulates data based on incomplete metrics would represent a significant regulatory and ethical failure. Such an action could violate data integrity policies, potentially leading to audit failures and noncompliance with any relevant data protection regulations that IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk V7. 5. might be subject to in its operational environment. It also demonstrates a lack of professional due diligence and a disregard for established best practices in IT operations, potentially leading to further system instability and data loss. Another incorrect approach, such as ignoring the metrics altogether, would be a failure to proactively manage the IT environment, potentially leading to service degradation and impacting business operations, which is also professionally unacceptable. The professional reasoning process for similar situations should involve a structured approach. First, fully understand the reported issue by gathering all available data and context. Second, consult relevant documentation and establish procedures for troubleshooting and change management. Third, involve the appropriate stakeholders and subject matter experts to assess the situation and potential solutions. Fourth, develop a plan that includes risk assessment, mitigation strategies, and rollback procedures. Finally, execute the approved plan with meticulous documentation and post-implementation review. Question 11. Governance review demonstrates that a recent critical system update in IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7.5 has led to a significant and widespread performance degradation, impacting end-user productivity. The IT operations team has identified the update as the likely cause. What is the most appropriate immediate next step to address this situation while adhering to established IT governance and change management principles? Option A. Continue monitoring the situation and gather more data, as the performance degradation might be temporary and resolve itself. Option B. Formally document the incident, assess its impact and urgency, and initiate the change management process to request approval for a rollback or a corrective patch. Option C. Implement an ad hoc, untested workaround to alleviate the performance issues for affected users while deferring a formal rollback. Option D. Immediately initiate a rollback of the system update without further formal approval, prioritizing service restoration. The correct answer is D. Immediately initiate a rollback of the system update without further formal approval, prioritizing service restoration. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical system update, intended to improve security and performance, has inadvertently introduced a significant performance degradation impacting end-user productivity. The challenge lies in balancing the immediate need to restore service levels with the long-term benefits of the update, while also managing stakeholder expectations and ensuring compliance with internal governance policies and potentially external regulatory requirements related to service availability and data integrity. The pressure to resolve the issue quickly, coupled with the potential for reputational damage and financial loss due to downtime, necessitates a structured and well-justified approach. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic process of incident management and problem resolution, aligned with ITIL best practices as implemented within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7.5. This includes accurately identifying the incident, categorizing its impact and urgency, and initiating a swift investigation to determine the root cause. Once the root cause is identified, a solution, in this case, a rollback or a patch, must be developed and tested. Crucially, before implementing the solution, a change request must be formally raised and approved through the established change management process. This ensures that the proposed solution is assessed for its potential impact on other services, that appropriate stakeholders are informed, and that the change is documented. This adherence to the change management process is paramount for maintaining control over the IT environment, minimizing further disruption, and demonstrating due diligence in accordance with governance frameworks. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach would be to immediately implement a rollback without following the formal change management process. This bypasses critical review and approval steps, potentially leading to unforeseen consequences or conflicts with other ongoing changes. It demonstrates a lack of adherence to established governance and control procedures, increasing the risk of further incidents and violating the principle of controlled change. Another incorrect approach would be to delay the rollback or patch indefinitely, citing the need for further analysis, while end users continue to experience severe performance issues. This fails to adequately address the impact of the incident and demonstrates a lack of urgency in restoring service, potentially leading to significant business disruption and dissatisfaction. It neglects the core responsibility of incident management to restore normal service operation as quickly as possible. A third incorrect approach would be to attempt a complex, unapproved workaround without proper testing or documentation. This introduces significant risk, as the workaround might be unstable, introduce new vulnerabilities, or conflict with future plan changes. It undermines the integrity of the IT environment and demonstrates a disregard for established operational procedures and risk management. Professional reasoning. Professionals should approach this situation by first prioritizing the immediate restoration of service through effective incident management. This involves clear communication with affected users and stakeholders. Subsequently, the problem management process should be initiated to identify the root cause of the performance degradation. The resolution of the problem, whether through a rollback or a patch, must then be managed through the formal change management process. This process ensures that all changes are assessed, approved, and documented, thereby maintaining the stability and integrity of the IT environment and adhering to governance requirements. This structured approach minimizes risk, ensures accountability, and promotes continuous improvement. Question 12. The audit findings indicate that a critical update to the IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7.5 application, which will impact user interface elements and workflow processes, was implemented without a formal Change Advisory Board (CAB) review and with only a brief email notification to a limited group of IT support staff. Which of the following represents the most appropriate professional response to address this finding and prevent recurrence? Option A. Advise that future changes of this nature should be communicated directly to the end-user base via a company-wide broadcast message immediately after implementation to ensure awareness. Option B. Acknowledge the finding and instruct the IT team to be more mindful of communication in future changes, assuming the update itself did not cause any immediate user issues. Option C. Immediately initiate a formal review of the change management process to identify gaps, ensure all significant changes are submitted for CAB approval, and establish a clear communication plan for end users and relevant stakeholders prior to implementation. Option D. Recommend that the IT team document the change retrospectively and consider it approved, given that the update was deemed necessary by the technical team. The correct answer is C. Immediately initiate a formal review of the change management process to identify gaps, ensure all significant changes are submitted for CAB approval, and establish a clear communication plan for end users and relevant stakeholders prior to implementation. Explanation. The audit findings indicate a potential gap in the change management process within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7.5, specifically concerning the communication and approval of significant changes impacting end users. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the need for efficient IT service delivery with the imperative to manage risk and ensure stakeholder alignment. The core of the challenge lies in identifying the most effective and compliant method for obtaining necessary approvals and communicating changes, ensuring that all relevant parties are informed and have had the opportunity to provide input or raise concerns. The correct approach represents best professional practice because it directly addresses the identified audit finding by establishing a clear, documented, and auditable process for change approval and communication. This aligns with the principles of good governance and IT service management, ensuring that changes are not implemented without proper scrutiny and buy-in from affected stakeholders. By involving the Change Advisory Board (CAB) and ensuring timely communication to end users, this approach minimizes the risk of disruption, enhances user adoption, and maintains transparency. This is crucial for maintaining trust and operational stability within the organization. An incorrect approach that bypasses formal approval processes, such as proceeding with a significant change based solely on the IT team's assessment of urgency, represents a significant regulatory and ethical failure. This failure stems from a disregard for established governance frameworks, which are designed to prevent unauthorized or poorly considered changes that could lead to service degradation, security vulnerabilities, or noncompliance with internal policies or external regulations. Such an approach undermines accountability and creates a risk of unmanaged consequences. Another incorrect approach, which involves communicating a change only after it has been implemented, is also professionally unacceptable. This failure is rooted in a lack of transparency and stakeholder engagement. It prevents affected parties from preparing for the change, providing feedback, or raising critical issues before implementation, thereby increasing the likelihood of user dissatisfaction, operational disruptions, and potential compliance breaches. This approach demonstrates a disregard for the user experience and the principles of effective communication. A third incorrect approach, which relies on informal verbal approvals from a single manager without documented evidence or broader stakeholder consultation, is equally problematic. This method lacks the rigor and auditability required for effective change management. It creates ambiguity regarding the scope and authorization of the change, making it difficult to track, review, and hold individuals accountable. This can lead to inconsistencies in change implementation and a breakdown in the overall control environment. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a thorough understanding of the organization's established IT service management policies and procedures, particularly those related to change management. Professionals must assess the potential impact of a proposed change, identify all relevant stakeholders, and determine the appropriate approval and communication channels as defined by these policies. When faced with ambiguity or a deviation from standard procedures, it is essential to escalate the matter to the appropriate governance bodies, such as the CAB, to ensure that decisions are made in a controlled and documented manner, thereby upholding regulatory compliance and ethical standards. Question 13. Risk assessment procedures indicate that a recently deployed security patch for a critical application has resulted in significant performance degradation, impacting user productivity. The patch was deployed to address a known, high-severity vulnerability. What is the most appropriate immediate course of action? Option A. Initiate a full rollback of the security patch to restore normal application performance, then investigate the performance issues separately. Option B. Continue with the security patch deployment as planned, as the security vulnerability is the highest priority, and address performance issues as a separate, lower-priority incident. Option C. Implement temporary performance tuning measures for the affected application, while simultaneously initiating a root cause analysis for the performance degradation and planning for a controlled remediation or rollback. Option D. Immediately revert the security patch to restore normal application performance, and then redeploy the patch after further testing to identify the cause of the performance degradation. The correct answer is A. Initiate a full rollback of the security patch to restore normal application performance, and then investigate the performance issues separately. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical system update intended to enhance security introduces unexpected performance degradation. Challenge lies in balancing the immediate need for security patching with the operational impact on end users and business processes. The urgency of the security vulnerability clashes with the potential disruption caused by the performance issues, requiring a nuanced decision that prioritizes both security and business continuity. The absence of a clear, predefined rollback plan for this specific scenario adds to the complexity, demanding swift and informed judgment. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a structured decision-making process that prioritizes immediate risk mitigation while planning for a controlled resolution. This aligns with best practices in IT service management frameworks, such as ITIL, which emphasize incident management and problem management. Specifically, it involves 1. Immediate containment, implementing temporary measures to reduce the impact of the performance degradation without fully reverting the security update if possible. This might include optimizing configurations or isolating affected services. 2. Root cause analysis, initiating a thorough investigation to understand why the update caused performance issues. 3. Developing and testing a permanent fix or rollback plan based on the root cause, either creating a patch for the update or preparing a safe and tested rollback procedure. 4. Communicating with stakeholders, keeping affected users and management informed about the situation, the steps being taken, and the expected timeline for resolution. This approach demonstrates professional responsibility by addressing the security risk, minimizing operational disruption, and ensuring transparency. It adheres to the principle of least disruption while maintaining security posture. Incorrect approach is analysis. Ignoring the performance degradation and proceeding with the security update without any mitigation or investigation is professionally unacceptable. This approach fails to acknowledge the business impact and could lead to significant operational downtime, loss of productivity, and reputational damage. It violates the principle of responsible IT management, which includes considering the broader consequences of technical decisions. Immediately reverting the security update without a thorough root cause analysis is also professionally unsound. While it might seem like a quick fix for performance issues, it leaves the system vulnerable to the original security threat. This demonstrates a failure to prioritize security and could expose the organization to further risks. It also bypasses proper incident and problem management procedures, potentially masking underlying issues that could resurface. Implementing a hasty rollback without proper testing or planning is equally problematic. This could introduce new, unforeseen issues or fail to resolve the original performance problems, leading to further disruption and a loss of confidence in the IT team's capabilities. It neglects the critical step of ensuring that any remediation action is safe and effective. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making framework that incorporates risk assessment, impact analysis, and a clear incident/problem management process. When faced with conflicting priorities like security and performance, the framework should guide them to 1. Assess the immediate risk of the security vulnerability versus the immediate impact of the performance degradation. 2. Prioritize actions that mitigate the most critical risks first, while simultaneously initiating steps to address secondary issues. 3. Leverage established incident and problem management processes to systematically diagnose, contain, and resolve issues. 4. Ensure clear and consistent communication with all affected stakeholders throughout the process. 5. Document all decisions, actions, and outcomes for future reference and continuous improvement. Question 14. Benchmark analysis indicates that a critical business application is experiencing a complete outage, impacting multiple departments and generating significant user complaints. The incident management team has identified a potential workaround that could restore partial functionality, but a definitive root cause has not yet been determined. What is the most appropriate immediate course of action for the incident manager? Option A. Attempt to restore full service immediately without documenting the incident or initiating a root cause analysis, as speed is paramount. Option B. Implement the identified workaround to restore partial service while simultaneously initiating the formal incident investigation and documentation process. Option C. Proceed with a full, in-depth root cause analysis before attempting any service restoration, even if a workaround is available. Option D. Halt all restoration efforts until a complete and definitive root cause analysis is performed and documented. The correct answer is B. Implement the identified workaround to restore partial service while simultaneously initiating the formal incident investigation and documentation process. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management where a critical system outage impacts multiple business units. The core difficulty lies in balancing the urgency of restoring service with the need for thorough root cause analysis and adherence to established incident management processes. Stakeholder pressure for immediate resolution can conflict with the requirement for accurate documentation and post-incident review, which are crucial for preventing future occurrences and meeting compliance standards. The decision maker must navigate conflicting priorities and manage expectations across different departments. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach prioritizes immediate service restoration while simultaneously initiating the documentation and investigation process. This aligns with best practices in ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which is a foundational framework for IBM SmartCloud Control Desk. ITIL emphasizes a structured approach to incident management, focusing on restoring normal service operation as quickly as possible and minimizing the adverse impact on business operations. Simultaneously, it mandates proper documentation and root cause analysis to prevent recurrence. This balanced approach ensures business continuity while also addressing the underlying issues, which is a key tenet of effective IT governance and operational excellence. Incorrect approach is analysis. Focusing solely on immediate restoration without initiating any documentation or investigation is professionally unacceptable because it bypasses critical steps required for compliance and continuous improvement. This failure to document can lead to an inability to demonstrate adherence to regulatory requirements, if applicable to the specific jurisdiction, though not explicitly stated for this exam. General IT governance principles apply and prevents a proper understanding of the incident's cause, increasing the risk of repeat outages. Prioritizing a complete and exhaustive root cause analysis before any restoration efforts can be professionally detrimental. Thoroughness is important Delaying service restoration when a workaround or partial fix is possible can lead to significant business disruption, financial losses, and reputational damage. This approach fails to meet the primary objective of incident management, minimizing business impact. Attempting to restore service and conduct a full root cause analysis simultaneously without a clear plan or designated resources is also professionally unsound. This can lead to rushed, incomplete work, errors in both restoration and analysis, and increased stress on the IT team. It demonstrates a lack of structured problem solving and can result in a superficial fix that doesn't address the true underlying problem. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making framework that begins with understanding the immediate business impact and the criticality of the affected services. This is followed by assessing available resources and the feasibility of different restoration strategies. The framework then involves initiating the incident management process, which includes clear communication, assigning roles, and documenting actions as they occur. A key element is the ability to adapt the plan based on new information while maintaining focus on the primary objectives of service restoration and root cause identification. This iterative and documented approach ensures accountability, compliance, and continuous improvement. Question 15. Process analysis reveals a critical incident impacting multiple business services simultaneously. The IBM SmartCloud control desk system has logged several incident tickets, each detailing a different affected service. Given the limited availability of specialized technical resources, what is the most appropriate method for determining the order in which these incidents should be addressed to ensure the most effective and efficient resolution? Option A. Respond to the incident that has the most vocal or senior stakeholder demanding immediate attention. Option B. Allocate resources to the incident that appears to be the most technically challenging to resolve. Option C. Prioritize incidents based on their business impact and urgency, as defined by the severity matrix within IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk. Option D. Address incidents in the order they were reported, ensuring that each ticket is processed sequentially. Correct answer is C. Prioritize incidents based on their business impact and urgency, as defined by the severity matrix within IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical incident impacts multiple business services. The core difficulty lies in prioritizing remediation efforts when resources are limited and competing demands exist. The urgency of restoring services, coupled with the need to adhere to established service level agreements, SLAs, and maintain customer satisfaction, creates a complex decision-making environment. The pressure to act quickly must be balanced against the need for a systematic and effective resolution. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a structured decision-making process guided by the IBM Smart Cloud Control Desk (SCCD) framework and its underlying principles of ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library. This approach prioritizes based on the impact and urgency of the incident, aligning with the defined severity levels within SCCD. The process would involve 1. Accurate incident logging and classification within SCCD to capture all relevant details. 2. Rapid assessment of the business impact by consulting the Configuration Management Database, CMDB, within SCCD to understand affected services and their criticality. 3. Prioritization based on the defined matrix of impact and urgency, which directly translates to the severity level. 4. Escalation to the appropriate support teams based on the determined priority. This method ensures that the most critical services are addressed first, minimizing overall business disruption and adhering to contractual obligations, SLAs. It represents best professional practice because it is systematic, data-driven, and aligned with industry-standard IT service management processes, promoting efficient resource allocation and effective problem resolution. Incorrect approach is analysis. One incorrect approach would be to address the incident based solely on the order in which the tickets were received. This fails to account for the varying business impact of different services. A less critical service reported earlier could consume valuable resources, delaying the resolution of a more critical service that was reported later, leading to significant business losses and SLA breaches. This approach is ethically and regulatorily unsound, as it disregards the fundamental principle of minimizing business impact. Another incorrect approach would be to prioritize based on the perceived technical complexity of the issue. While technical expertise is important, Focusing solely on complexity can lead to neglecting high-impact incidents that might have simpler, albeit urgent, fixes. This can result in prolonged downtime for critical business functions, violating service commitments, and potentially leading to reputational damage. A third incorrect approach would be to address the incident based on the loudest stakeholder's complaint. While stakeholder communication is vital, allowing individual complaints to dictate priority without a structured impact assessment can lead to misallocation of resources and inequitable service restoration. This can create an environment of perceived unfairness and undermine the integrity of the incident management process. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that emphasizes a structured, impact-driven approach. This involves 1. Understanding the incident management process as defined within SCCD and ITIL. 2. Utilizing the CMDB to accurately assess the business impact of affected services. 3. Applying a predefined priority matrix that considers both impact and urgency. 4. Communicating effectively with stakeholders throughout the process, managing expectations based on the established priorities. This systematic approach ensures that decisions are objective, justifiable, and aligned with business objectives and service-level agreements. Question 16. Benchmark analysis indicates that a critical application is experiencing intermittent performance degradation, impacting multiple departments. The immediate pressure is to restore full functionality. Which of the following decision-making approaches best balances immediate resolution with long-term system stability and adherence to IT governance principles? Option A. Immediately implement a temporary workaround identified by the first responder, deferring any formal root cause analysis until after the current business cycle concludes. Option B. Initiate a full rollback of the most recent application update without further investigation to see if performance improves, and then address any subsequent issues. Option C. Prioritize immediate service restoration through a documented, tested, and approved emergency change for a known, stable configuration, while concurrently initiating a formal problem management process to investigate the root cause of the degradation. Option D. Escalate the issue to senior management with a request for a decision on how to proceed, providing only a high-level overview of the symptoms. Correct answer is A. Immediately implement a temporary workaround identified by the first responder, deferring any formal root cause analysis until after the current business cycle concludes. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical system outage impacts multiple business units. The core difficulty lies in balancing the immediate need for resolution with the long-term implications of the chosen solution, particularly concerning resource allocation and adherence to established processes. The pressure to restore service quickly can lead to shortcuts that violate established governance and potentially introduce future risks. Careful judgment is required to ensure that the chosen path is not only expedient, but also compliant and sustainable. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a structured decision-making process that prioritizes immediate containment and then escalates to a formal problem management investigation. This aligns with best practices in ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which is a foundational framework for IBM SmartCloud Control Desk. Specifically, it emphasizes incident resolution followed by root cause analysis. This approach ensures that the immediate impact is mitigated while simultaneously addressing the underlying issue to prevent recurrence. This is professionally sound because it respects the established service management lifecycle, promotes accountability, and ensures that decisions are data-driven rather than reactive. It also aligns with the principles of good governance and risk management, which are implicitly supported by regulatory frameworks governing IT operations by ensuring system stability and data integrity. Incorrect approach is analysis. An approach that bypasses formal problem management and directly implements a quick fix without proper testing or documentation is professionally unacceptable. This constitutes a regulatory and ethical failure because it disregards established change control processes, which are often mandated by compliance standards, e.g., SOX, GDPR, depending on the jurisdiction. Though for this exam, we focus on the principles inherent in IT governance frameworks that IBM SCCD supports. Such shortcuts increase the risk of introducing new, unforeseen issues, potentially leading to further outages or data corruption, which could have significant financial and reputational consequences. It also undermines the integrity of the IT service management system and the audit trail. Another incorrect approach is to solely focus on restoring service without any attempt to understand the root cause. This is professionally unsound as it perpetuates a reactive stance, leading to recurring incidents and inefficient resource utilization. Ethically, it fails to uphold the responsibility to provide a stable and reliable service. From a regulatory perspective, a pattern of recurring incidents without root cause analysis can be viewed as a failure to implement adequate controls and risk mitigation strategies, potentially violating compliance requirements related to operational resilience. A third incorrect approach, which is to defer the decision to a higher authority without providing sufficient context or analysis, is also professionally weak. While escalation is sometimes necessary, abdicating responsibility without a clear recommendation based on an assessment of options is not best practice. It delays resolution and can lead to suboptimal decisions being made by individuals less familiar with the technical intricacies. This can indirectly lead to regulatory or ethical breaches if the delayed or poorly informed decision results in noncompliance or increased risk. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that integrates immediate response with systematic problem-solving. This involves 1. Incident triage and containment. Quickly assess the impact and implement immediate measures to restore service or mitigate the outage. 2. Impact assessment. Understand the scope and severity of the incident across business units. 3. Root cause analysis (RCA). Initiate a formal problem management process to identify the underlying cause. 4. Solution evaluation. Based on RCA, evaluate potential solutions considering technical feasibility, cost, risk, and impact on business operations. 5. Change management. Implement the chosen solution through a controlled change process, including testing and documentation. 6. Post-implementation review. Verify the effectiveness of the solution and update documentation and knowledge bases. This structured approach ensures that decisions are informed, compliant, and contribute to long-term service stability and improvement. Question 17. System analysis indicates that a recent security patch deployed to a critical production server has resulted in a significant and widespread performance degradation across multiple business-critical applications. Users are reporting extreme slowness, and key business processes are being severely impacted. The IT operations team has identified the security patch as the most probable cause. What is the most appropriate immediate course of action to manage this situation within the framework of IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7? 5. Option A. Immediately initiate a rollback of the security patch to the previous stable version, documenting the decision and impact, and then proceed with a detailed root cause analysis of the patch's performance implications. Option B. Continue monitoring the situation, assuming the performance issues will resolve themselves as users adapt to the new security measures. Option C. Escalate the issue to the security team for an immediate assessment of whether the performance impact is an acceptable trade-off for the enhanced security. Option D. Proceed with further system optimizations and tuning on the affected applications to compensate for the performance degradation caused by the patch. Correct answer is A. Immediately initiate a rollback of the security patch to the previous stable version, documenting the decision and impact, and then proceed with a detailed root cause analysis of the patch's performance implications. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management where a critical system update intended to enhance security has inadvertently introduced performance degradation, impacting multiple business-critical applications. The challenge lies in balancing the immediate need for system stability and user productivity against the long-term security imperative. The pressure to restore services quickly, coupled with potential financial implications of downtime, necessitates a structured and justifiable decision-making process. Adherence to the IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7.5 framework is paramount, as it dictates the procedures for incident and problem management, change control, and communication. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic process of incident identification, diagnosis, and resolution, guided by the principles of ITIL, which IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7.5 aligns with. This includes 1. Incident prioritization. accurately assessing the impact and urgency of the performance degradation to assign the correct priority level. This ensures that resources are allocated effectively to address the most critical issues first. 2. Root cause analysis, conducting a thorough investigation to pinpoint the exact cause of the performance issues, which in this case is likely related to the recent security update. This prevents recurring problems and ensures a permanent fix. 3. Change management, following the established change management process to plan, approve, implement, and review any remediation actions. This includes assessing the risks associated with rollback or further modifications and ensuring proper testing. 4. Communication, maintaining clear and timely communication with all affected stakeholders, including end users, management, and other IT teams, about the incident status, resolution progress, and expected timelines. 5. Problem management. Once the incident is resolved, initiating problem management to understand the underlying causes of the failure and implement preventative measures to avoid similar issues in the future. This structured approach ensures that decisions are data-driven, risk-assessed, and aligned with organizational policies and best practices, thereby minimizing further disruption and ensuring compliance with service-level agreements. Incorrect approaches analysis, an approach that bypasses established incident and change management procedures, such as immediately rolling back the update without proper assessment or communication, is professionally unacceptable. This could lead to unforeseen consequences. Rolling back without understanding the full impact of the security update might leave systems vulnerable to known exploits, creating a greater security risk. Incomplete resolution. The rollback might not fully resolve the performance issues if other contributing factors exist, leading to recurring incidents. Violation of change control. Bypassing change control procedures undermines the integrity of the IT environment and can lead to an unmanageable state, making future troubleshooting more difficult. Lack of accountability. Without proper documentation and approval, it becomes difficult to track who made the decision and why, hindering post-incident review and learning. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the performance issues in favor of the security update, citing the importance of security. While security is critical, neglecting significant performance degradation that impacts business operations is also a failure. This demonstrates a lack of understanding of the business impact of IT issues and a failure to balance competing priorities effectively. It can lead to significant productivity losses, financial impact, and erosion of user trust in IT services. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes structured problem-solving, risk management, and stakeholder communication. This involves 1. Information gathering. Collect all relevant data about the incident, including error logs, performance metrics, user reports, and details of recent changes. 2. Impact assessment. Quantify the business impact of the incident in terms of downtime, lost productivity, and potential financial losses. 3. Risk assessment. Evaluate the risks associated with different resolution options, including rollback, hotfixes, or further configuration changes. 4. Option evaluation. Compare potential solutions against criteria such as speed of resolution, effectiveness, risk, and cost. 5. Decision and justification. Select the best course of action based on the assessment and clearly document the rationale behind the decision. 6. Execution and monitoring. Implement the chosen solution following established procedures and continuously monitor the system to ensure the problem is resolved and no new issues arise. 7. Post-incident review. Conduct a thorough review to identify lessons learned and implement preventative measures. This systematic approach, aligned with the principles embedded within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Ensures that decisions are not only technically sound, but also strategically aligned with business objectives and regulatory compliance. Question 18. The monitoring system demonstrates an anomaly indicating a potential security vulnerability within the IBM SmartCloud Control Desk V7. 5. Environment. The alert suggests a deviation from expected operational parameters that could compromise data integrity. What is the most appropriate immediate course of action for the IT operations team? Option A. Broadcast an alert to all end users and management regarding a potential system compromise. Option B. Conduct a rapid, focused technical assessment to understand the nature and impact of the anomaly, followed by a controlled remediation plan. Option C. Log the anomaly for review during the next scheduled maintenance window to avoid disrupting current operations. Option D. Initiate an immediate, unverified patch deployment to address the suspected vulnerability. Correct answer is D. Initiate an immediate, unverified patch deployment to address the suspected vulnerability. Explanation: the monitoring system demonstrates a critical security vulnerability that has been detected. The challenge lies in balancing the urgency of addressing the vulnerability with the need for a structured and compliant incident response process. Rushing a fix without proper assessment or communication could lead to unintended consequences, system instability, or regulatory noncompliance. Conversely, delaying action due to excessive bureaucracy could expose the organization to significant risk. The correct approach involves a rapid, yet controlled, assessment and remediation process. This aligns with best professional practices by prioritizing the integrity and security of the IBM SmartCloud control desk environment. It involves immediate notification to relevant stakeholders, a swift but thorough technical assessment to understand the scope and impact of the vulnerability, and the implementation of a validated fix. This methodical approach ensures that the remediation is effective and minimizes disruption, while also adhering to internal governance and potentially external regulatory requirements for incident management and data protection. An incorrect approach would be to immediately deploy a patch without verifying its compatibility or potential side effects. This could lead to system downtime, data corruption, or the introduction of new, unforeseen issues, thereby failing to uphold the principle of maintaining service availability and integrity. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the alert due to perceived low severity without proper investigation. This demonstrates a failure in due diligence and risk management, potentially exposing the organization to significant security breaches and regulatory penalties for failing to protect sensitive data. A third incorrect approach would be to escalate the issue to a broad, unqualified audience, causing unnecessary panic and diverting resources from effective problem solving. This lacks professional judgment and effective communication strategy. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes risk assessment, stakeholder communication, and adherence to established incident response procedures. This involves understanding the potential impact of the vulnerability, identifying the appropriate technical and managerial resources, and following a defined escalation and resolution path. The framework should emphasize clear communication channels, documented decision-making, and a focus on restoring service and security with minimal disruption. Question 19. Operational review demonstrates that a recently deployed security update for a critical business application has resulted in a noticeable slowdown in user response times. The update was mandated to address a known vulnerability. What is the most appropriate immediate course of action to address this performance degradation while maintaining a responsible approach to security? Option A. Initiate a detailed diagnostic process to identify the specific component or configuration within the update causing the performance issue, while simultaneously assessing the risk of temporarily disabling certain non-critical security features of the update. If performance impact is severe, an immediate mitigation is required. Option B. Assume the performance degradation is unrelated to the update and focus on general network and hardware diagnostics, as the update's primary purpose was security, not performance. Option C. Advise users to adjust their workflows to accommodate the slower response times and escalate the issue to the vendor for a general performance optimization without further internal investigation. Option D. Immediately roll back the security update to restore previous performance levels, and then schedule a separate task to investigate the performance impact of the update at a later time. The correct answer is A. Initiate a detailed diagnostic process to identify the specific component or configuration within the update causing the performance issue, while simultaneously assessing the risk of temporarily disabling certain non-critical security features of the update if performance impact is severe and immediate mitigation is required. Explanation: scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management, where a critical system update intended to enhance security inadvertently introduces performance degradation impacting end users. The professional challenge lies in balancing the immediate need for security patching with the operational imperative of maintaining service availability and user productivity. The pressure to resolve the issue quickly, coupled with potential blame, necessitates a structured and objective decision-making process. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a systematic investigation to identify the root cause of the performance degradation. This includes analyzing system logs, performance metrics, and the specific changes introduced by the update. The goal is to determine if the update is indeed the cause, and if so, what specific aspect of the update is responsible. Once the root cause is identified, a solution can be developed, which might involve rolling back the update, applying a hotfix, or reconfiguring the system. This methodical approach aligns with best practices in ITIL Information Technology Infrastructure Library frameworks, which are foundational to IBM SmartCloud Control Desk. Specifically, it adheres to the principles of incident management and problem management, ensuring that the issue is not just resolved, but also understood to prevent recurrence. This demonstrates a commitment to service quality and user satisfaction, which are key performance indicators in IT operations. Incorrect approaches analysis. One incorrect approach is to immediately roll back the update without thorough investigation. While this might seem like a quick fix, it bypasses the crucial step of understanding the root cause. This could lead to the same or a similar issue recurring if the underlying vulnerability addressed by the update remains unpatched, or if the rollback itself introduces new problems. This approach fails to adhere to the principles of problem management and could be seen as a reactive rather than a proactive solution, potentially violating service-level agreements, SLAs, if performance issues persist or if the rollback is not executed cleanly. Another incorrect approach is to attribute the performance degradation to general network issues or user error without concrete evidence. This deflects responsibility and prevents a proper diagnosis of the system update's impact. Such an approach neglects the fundamental duty of IT support to investigate reported issues thoroughly and can lead to user frustration and a loss of confidence in the IT department. Ethically, it is a failure to provide adequate support and to be transparent about the system's behavior. A third incorrect approach is to prioritize the immediate restoration of previous performance levels by disabling security features introduced by the update. This directly compromises the security posture of the system, which was the very reason for the update in the first place. This action would be a significant regulatory and ethical failure, as it knowingly exposes the organization to security risks, potentially violating data protection regulations and organizational security policies. Professional reasoning. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making framework that prioritizes data-driven analysis and adherence to established IT service management processes. This involves 1. Incident identification and logging, accurately record the reported performance degradation. 2. Initial diagnosis, gather preliminary information to understand the scope and impact. 3. Root cause analysis, systematically investigate the potential causes, focusing on recent changes like the system update. 4. Solution development and testing, design and test potential solutions, considering rollback, hotfixes, or configuration changes. 5. Implementation and verification, deploy the chosen solution and verify that performance is restored and the original issue is resolved. 6. Problem management, document the incident, its cause, and the resolution to prevent future occurrences and to inform future update strategies. This framework ensures that decisions are not based on assumptions or pressure, but on a thorough understanding of the situation, leading to effective and sustainable solutions. Question 20. Compliance review shows that a development team has proposed a significant update to a core application module within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7. 5. The team asserts that the update will improve performance and introduce new functionalities that are highly anticipated by end users. However, they have not formally documented any analysis of how this change might affect other integrated services, system stability, or adherence to data privacy policies. What is the most appropriate next step to ensure responsible change management? Option A. Proceed with the change as proposed, relying on the development team's assurance that the impact will be minimal and can be addressed through post-implementation monitoring. Option B. Approve the change immediately to capitalize on the anticipated performance improvements and new functionalities, deferring any detailed impact analysis until after the change has been deployed. Option C. Mandate a formal, comprehensive impact assessment that identifies all affected configuration items, dependencies, potential service disruptions, and compliance implications before the change is approved for implementation. Option D. Initiate a technical feasibility study focused solely on the code changes required for the update, without considering broader system or business impacts. The correct answer is C. Mandate a formal, comprehensive impact assessment that identifies all affected configuration items, dependencies, potential service disruptions, and compliance implications before the change is approved for implementation. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge in IT service management where a proposed change, while offering potential benefits, carries inherent risks. The professional challenge lies in balancing the desire for innovation and efficiency with the imperative to maintain service stability and compliance. A thorough impact assessment is crucial to identify potential disruptions, understand the scope of affected services, and proactively mitigate risks before implementation. The pressure to deliver new features quickly can sometimes lead to shortcuts in this critical process, making careful judgment and adherence to established procedures paramount. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a comprehensive and systematic impact assessment. This process, aligned with best practices in IT service management ITSM, frameworks like ITIL, which is foundational to IBM SmartCloud Control Desk v7. 5. Requires identifying all affected configuration items, SI, understanding dependencies between services, and evaluating the potential consequences of the change on business operations. This includes assessing the impact on availability, performance, security, and compliance with relevant regulations. By thoroughly documenting these findings and presenting them to the Change Advisory Board, CAB, or equivalent governance body, the team ensures informed decision-making, allowing for the approval of changes with acceptable risk levels or the rejection of those posing undue threats. This proactive risk management is a cornerstone of maintaining service integrity and meeting operational objectives. Incorrect approaches analysis. Implementing the change without a formal impact assessment is a significant regulatory and ethical failure. It bypasses a fundamental control mechanism designed to prevent service disruption and potential breaches of compliance. This approach demonstrates a disregard for established ITSM processes and a failure to uphold professional responsibility for service stability. Proceeding with the change based solely on the developer's assurance of minimal impact, without independent verification or a documented assessment, is also professionally unacceptable. This relies on anecdotal evidence rather than objective analysis, creating a high risk of unforeseen consequences. It fails to acknowledge the interconnectedness of IT systems and the potential for cascading failures, which can lead to breaches of service-level agreements, SLAs, and regulatory noncompliance. Focusing only on the technical feasibility of the change, without considering its broader business and operational implications, represents a narrow and incomplete assessment. This oversight can lead to changes that, while technically sound, negatively impact users, disrupt business processes, or introduce security vulnerabilities, all of which carry regulatory and ethical ramifications. Professional reasoning. Professionals should approach change management with a risk-based mindset. The decision-making process should begin with a clear understanding of the proposed change and its objectives. This should be followed by initiating a formal impact assessment process, leveraging available tools and documentation, such as the CMDB within IBM SmartCloud Control Desk. The assessment should systematically identify all potential impacts across technical, operational, and business domains. Findings should be clearly documented, including identified risks and proposed mitigation strategies. This documented assessment then forms the basis for discussion and decision-making by the appropriate governance body, ensuring that changes are implemented in a controlled and responsible manner, prioritizing service stability and regulatory adherence.